So Bojan Bogdanovic has been an absolute stud for the Detroit Pistons. After they basically got him for a bag of peanuts from the Utah Jazz, he has came in and is averaging 20 points per game in 31 minutes on 50% shooting and 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and has just really been very solid for this team. I mean, he's putting up basically 20 points every game. He's put up 33, 22, 21, 23, 14, 6, 12, 17, 25, and 28. So, I mean, the dude is just, he's shooting the lights out. He's playing really good for a Detroit Pistons team, and he's a player that many teams could really want. So it makes a lot of sense that the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns are both teams that are interested in acquiring Bojan Bogdanovic. Although Bojan did sign a new extension with Detroit, it doesn't necessarily mean that Detroit wouldn't trade him. They're a tanking team. They're terrible this year still. Their hopes is to go get Wembanyama and continue this rebuild around Cade Cunningham. So it would make sense for them to maybe get some like real assets for him, and especially now, he might be more valuable in a trade for other teams because now you got him locked up for a couple years on an actual reasonable salary, especially with the production that he's giving. So it makes sense that the Lakers and the Suns would want to get him. Not just that, but the Lakers especially were trying to acquire him from the Utah Jazz. He would be a huge, huge asset for the Lakers, right? His shooting and floor spacing and just being able to put the ball in the hoop would be a welcome addition for the Lakers. He's not the best defensively, but we do have a pretty good defense, and I think that he's solid enough. He at least tries, right? He's at least, he at least just doesn't just stand around and just get blown by. He actually like puts the effort in. And I think that we could, really utilize him in a real stretch. So having Bojan Bogdanovic in some type of trade would be ideal for the Lakers. Like I said, they've tried to get him before, and it didn't work out with the Utah Jazz. Maybe Detroit would be more inclined to trade for Bogdanovic. I definitely think it's going to be sort of an arms race for him, especially if he becomes available. I think that there are several teams that would be willing to go trade just for him, and then it just comes down to like which team is going to bite. Problem is, I don't think he's worth the Lakers giving up a first-round pick. I think he is great and solid, but just age and everything, and will he be a 20-plus point per game guy for the Lakers when he's like, the third, fourth option on the Lakers? Like, that's something, production. Will he be able to have that production? Also, it's just, he's perfect for what the Lakers need right now, but is he a piece that is going to, for the next several years, really be able to provide that? Or is he going to start, a small decline? He's shooting the lights out right now. But is he going to be able to keep that up? Because for his career, he's not shooting 50% from the field, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, he's shooting, like, impeccable right now. But also, it's a bad team, good player on a bad team, right? That's always a real concern. But for his career, I mean, he's been around an 18-point-a-game guy the last few years. He averages for his career 15 points per game on 45% shooting. He's around like a 43 to 45% shooter per season. So he's, again, a solid shooter, a solid contributor. But, I don't think he's worth our first-round pick. I think you could get more value for that first-round pick than Bojan Bogdanovic. But I don't know. I wouldn't be upset if they did that. Right? Like, let's say we went and we traded, Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn for Bojan Bogdanovic, right? Like, I wouldn't be completely against it if we gave up a first-round pick and then we still had another first plus, a couple, plus Russ, and we could work out some other moves, some other deal, and get Bogdanovic and some other guys, because we need more than just Bogdanovic, right? Bogdanovic, I think, would be a huge boost, a huge help, but the Lakers need several players, right? They don't need just one or two. Like, the same thing I've said about Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Like, as great of a shooter as Buddy Hield is, he's not solving all of our shooting woes. Like, Bogdanovic isn't solving all of our shooting woes. Like, I think if Bogdanovic came to the Lakers, he'd probably be around like a 14 to 15 point per game guy, hopefully. I mean, he's averaging 20 right now, but you got to imagine LeBron James, Anthony Davis, he's going to take a little step back. He's probably not going to get as many shots as he has been. Things like that, I think, all play a factor in Bogdanovic, and his effectiveness. with the Detroit Pistons as opposed to the Lakers, right? He's the guy that's going on. Like right now, he's averaging about 12 shots a game. If you really break it all down, he's averaging about 12 shots per game. I could see him, maybe getting somewhere around there, maybe 10 shots. But if he can keep up the production, then I think he'd be a huge trade. I don't know. I think you could probably get better assets in general in a package deal. But what if you did do a package deal with Detroit? Like, what if you got Bojan Bogdanovic, Alec Burks, and Nerlens Noel? Right? Like, what if you got those three for, like, if you could do it for, like, a first in a couple seconds or a pick swap or something? Like, Detroit don't care. Detroit's just trying to accumulate assets, tank for Victor, and then you have Cade Cunningham and Victor Wembanyama for the next, 10 years at least, if not longer. So that I could see them doing, saying, okay, well, let's just embrace the tank. We get, a first from the Lakers, maybe you get a pick swap, and or a couple seconds, maybe you get one first, a couple seconds, and then you'd still have that other first. Maybe you could go get, Terry Rozier or Miles Turner or something like that to pair in, and then you'd have basically a 4 big group of Nerlens Noels, Miles Turner, Anthony Davis, and Thomas Bryant. Beauty of Thomas Bryant is he could stretch the floor, which would be nice. But I would, if you're the Lakers, I think you at least inquire about it. I still would rather have the Spurs deal, if I'm being honest. Like, as great as Bojan has been, I would personally rather have Josh Richardson, Doug McDermott, and Jakob Poeltl, because I just think that, one, Jakob Poeltl's better than everybody not named Bojan Bogdanovic. Josh Richardson, I think, is overall, he's younger, and I think overall just better than, everybody in the Detroit package, just from like a defensive standpoint, offensive input, shooting, like everything. He's a guy that can do a little bit of everything. And then, Doug McDermott, it's basically like your Bojan Bogdanovic. So I'd still prefer to do the Spurs deal, like if it came down to it. But I don't think this is a terrible, like if this was the only deal on the table, I wouldn't, and the Lakers did it, like again, I wouldn't be against it. Like if we got a report that the Lakers did the Detroit trade and we got Bogdanovic, Burke, and Nerlens Noel for, say, Russell Westbrook, 1 first in 2 seconds, I would be like, okay. Like, I'd be like, cool. Like, good, solid pickup. You got your 3-and-D guy. You got a center that can come in and play, so Davis can play the 4. And then you got, a solid 3-point shooter and a solid just scorer in general. Cool, that's perfect. That's great. Like, we're in a good spot. Like, I wouldn't be against it, but I do like some of the other packages better. I might even like the Pacer deal better, if I'm being honest, because I just think Miles Turner would have a bigger impact than Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks. And I think that, Buddy Hield is basically your Bojan Bogdanovic in that case. But my problem is I don't think it's, one, the Pacers want both first. So, I mean, if it's the Detroit deal or the Pacers deal, let's say, and Detroit's only willing to take 1 first in a couple seconds, well, then I would probably do that deal. Because I just don't think the Pacers deal is worth both firsts. So I just think it just comes down to like which team is willing to pull the trigger, like which team is willing to just get something for their assets. And Detroit might be that team, right? Detroit might be the team that looks at it and goes, hey, we're tanking. We know who we are. We got one of the worst records in the league. Let's embrace that. Bojan's been great for us, but we got him for a bag of chips. He's not in our future plans. Let's end up trading him and going and getting some firsts and some assets and stuff that maybe we can flip later on, or that we can, maybe actually use and draft. Something like that I think could really be beneficial for Detroit. I think it'd make a lot of sense. Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks, I don't think it'd be there'd be any complaints from Detroit unloading those guys. So you might be able to get a reasonable package to get something like that done. I don't know. I'm not really big on Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks. I know a lot of people are. I've seen a lot of people throw out, over the last few months, Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, and then, Bogdanovic, or, before Bogdanovic was there, was like Kelly Olynyk, and Kemba Walker and these two, things like that. Like, I just, again, I don't think it's a terrible trade. I don't think it's not my favorite trade, even with Bogdanovic. Like, I really like Bogdanovic, but I just think you might as well just trade for him straight up, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. Like, I would rather just trade I'd rather free up the roster spot. Trade Patrick Beverley, trade Kendrick Nunn, go get Bojan Bogdanovic, free up a roster spot, and, give up an asset, give up a couple assets, and go that route, right? Now you got a 20-point-per-game scorer, shooter, things like that. Maybe you give up a first. I'm a little reluctant on Bogdanovic for a first, but I wouldn't be, like I said, I wouldn't be mad if it happened. Like, again, if we got the news today that the Lakers went and traded one first and Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn and got Bojan Bogdanovic, I wouldn't be like, no, what are the Lakers doing? I can't believe they did that. I wouldn't be that upset. But I don't know. I just feel like you could get more for that first. Maybe it's just me being overly optimistic. But regardless, like, if you're the Lakers, if Bojan is available and the Lakers have an opportunity, go get him. Especially the Pistons. He doesn't fit their future plans. They got him for a bag of peanuts. So I'm sure that they, if you could give anything of value and substance, they would do it. Preferably, I'd like to give up a pick, give up like a 26, 28 pick swap and give up like a couple seconds, 2 or 3 seconds. That would be ideal in my opinion. Like, that would be perfect. Mel, like, hey, you want a first? We don't really want to give up one of the 27, 29 firsts, but we'll give you, an earlier pick swap, and we'll give you like 2 or 3 seconds for doing us the favor. I mean, that's more than what they got or what they gave up for Bojan Bogdanovic. So, it's no skin off their back. It's just assets to save for the future, especially if you get Wembanyama. Those assets might be great for you in a couple years because now you can use those to go get another piece to put around, Cade and, and Wembanyama and all the other core guys that you have. Because Detroit's got a really nice team already that is very good and very young. And they're only going to improve and get better. But I don't know. I just, I wouldn't mind getting Bojan. Hopefully they can work something out. Hopefully they can figure out a way to acquire him. The Suns, they still want him, which makes a lot of sense. I still don't understand why Utah gave up Bojan to the Detroit Pistons for such a small, for basically nothing, for free. When I just think you could have gotten more, from the Lakers and the Suns. Now, I understand Kelly Olynyk has been great for them. Like, that's definitely, they definitely got a solid player. But I just think for the team that it is, like, you would have gotten better assets for the long term. I don't know. Again, it's just, it is what it is. But nonetheless, I would be all for Bojan Bogdanovic coming to Lakers. I would love if the Lakers could acquire him. Hopefully, the price isn't too high, isn't too much. Because you got to imagine, Detroit's going to be like everyone else. They're going to want to fleece the Lakers. But if the Lakers can get a solid deal for Bojan, especially if you could keep Russ, because I'd rather do the Beverley and Nunn, free up a roster spot. Not only are you freeing up a roster spot, but you're taking on Bogdanovic. You're getting a 20-point-a-game guy that's just going to fit beautifully next to LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like, that's perfect. And then you have Russ. You could keep Russ, especially if you don't have to give up a first, which I'm pretty sure that they would have to give up a first for Bojan Bogdanovic. But if for whatever reason you can, and you could keep that, I don't know. Like, I would, at that, if you got Bojan Bogdanovic, now you got him in for a couple years. You got him locked up for 2 more years? At that point, I think if you don't give up both firsts, or give up one first, and you still have both firsts, right? At that point, I go all in. If you get Bojan Bogdanovic, say you trade Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, a pick swap in 2 seconds for Bojan Bogdanovic, right? And they bite. You got Bojan, you got LeBron, you got Davis. Now you basically have no cap space. If I'm the Lakers, I am going all in at that point. At that point, I'm taking both firsts, and I'm calling the Spurs, and I'm calling the Pacers, and I'm saying, hey, I want to work out a deal. And I would try to get, a combination or, individual or whatever. Like, I would do either the Pacers deal or the Spurs deal, which I would probably, if you got Bogdanovic, I'd probably want the Spurs deal. Just because, you get Josh Richardson, so you get that shooting guard, small forward, 3-and-D guy. You get Jakob Poeltl that can play center, and then you get Doug McDermott, another shooter, on top of Bogdanovic. But maybe you could work out a 3-team deal to where, maybe you give one first to the Spurs, one first to the Pacers, and get Miles Turner. I don't know. But go get Bogdanovic, and then if you do, if I'm the Lakers, I go all in. That's what I would do, because now you're locked up long term. You have no more salary space because Bogdanovic, Davis, and LeBron are taking it all, and you might as well push these chips to the table and go all in. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Let me know down in the comment section below.